the White House today. President Trump suggested that the use of acetaminophen during pregnancy may contribute to rising autism rates in the U.S.
It is a link that experts have studied, and they say it's unproven. And the makers of the best-known brand of acetaminophen, Tylenol, say it disagrees with the White House and is worried about the health risk this raises for pregnant women. But the president said a warning will go out to doctors, and he delivered one of his own.
All pregnant women should talk to their doctors for more information about limiting the use of this medication while pregnant.
The American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists is calling any suggestion that acetaminophen is linked to autism highly concerning. In a statement posted today, the organization said the conditions people use acetaminophen to treat during pregnancy are far more dangerous than any theoretical risks. A Methuen mother has long wondered what caused her son's autism.
But as WBZ's Mike Sullivan tells us, she's not accepting the White House explanation.
Time flies as a new parent, milestones coming and going, flipping faster than the photos can come.
One day after his 4th birthday.
That's when it all slowed down for Hillary Steele.
He had fewer words at like 15 months than he should have had.
Her son Cole was diagnosed with autism, the why always looming overhead.
I tried to not consume myself with that because I had another baby at home.
The Trump administration now announcing a link between Tylenol usage during pregnancy and an increase in autism.
You've had Tylenol with 2 different children during pregnancy?
Three.
She needed it to battle hormone migraines. Her other 2 children do not have autism.
I don't want to scare moms until we have more information, but I would hope that they would take this information and maybe be cautious.
Her belief is autism is caused in the womb, potentially by a cocktail of factors.
Maybe there's a little bit of a genetic factor, and then you add in whatever. If you add in Tylenol, there you go. The cup can't hold anymore.
Steele is big on research. She says her other children have taken part in autism studies at Boston Children's Hospital, and she tried to get her son's spinal cord blood used in a study at Duke.
Show me the research. Show me the safety and efficacy of any product.
In Methuen, I'm Mike Sullivan, WBZ News.
And that, ladies and gentlemen,
is
where we are going to start before we go into our next video. Now, excuse me, let me turn off this display capture. Let me let y'all see my beautiful face. All right. Now, y'all, Donald Trump's announcement today about the link between acetaminophen and autism is not one that is a shocker to those of us that have been paying attention to the problematic nature of acetaminophen, especially brands like Tylenol. If you've been paying attention since late 2023, in your social media feeds, you have been getting little ads about Tylenol and autism links, class action lawsuits. This is not a game. Ask me how I know, and I'll tell you. Because I am one of the parents that are part of a class action lawsuit against Tylenol. And don't worry, I'm not just feeding you horse manure. You know, they like to say that everybody's grifting or whatever. Some people just live a real life. So let me share this with you just because I can. You see this? Watts and Guerra from February 8th, 2024. APA litigation. And I'm not the only parent that actually has lawsuits against Tylenol. But let's get into it. Is Tylenol linked to autism? Pregnant women often take over-the-counter and prescription medication, Tylenol, acetaminophen, for pain relief and fever reduction. However, some studies show a link between Tylenol and autism. As a parent, you deserve to have access to the latest facts and information. The Birth Injury Center's mission is to inform you about birth injuries and help you seek compensation and justice if your child has suffered preventable harm. 2021, the European Journal of Epidemiology study found that children prenatally exposed to acetaminophen were 19% more likely to have ASC autism spectrum conditions and 21% more likely to have ADHD symptoms. Since September of 2022, over 100 lawsuits have been filed nationwide against acetaminophen manufacturers. The lawsuits filed are claiming damages over the failure to warn pregnant users that Tylenol and generic versions may increase the risk of having a baby with autism and or ADHD. Now, let's dig a little deeper because I got time for it. What is this? What is this, Jesus? This is the Doleman lawsuit. Tylenol autism lawsuit settlement and claims, September 2025. Ooh, and toxic baby food. There's a lot of things that they're giving you that's not good for your children. Oh no. The appellate court was still considering the plaintiff's appeal April 1st of 2025. Tylenol and autism or ADHD lawsuits, September 2025. What happened? What happened? The product liability claims against Tylenol and other makers of acetaminophen have been consolidated into a multi-district litigation class action lawsuits. This means that all Tylenol lawsuits will be heard in one jurisdiction to consolidate court resources, even if the plaintiffs are located across the U.S. It also allows the plaintiffs to share the burden of expense like court fees. Tylenol autism lawyers for injured parties must convince a jury that manufacturers like Johnson & Johnson breach their duty of care to consumers by failing to warn them of the risk associated with acetaminophen. Now, this case is still ongoing, but it's not just the Doleman Law Group. It's Drug Watch. It's Miller and Zoyce. It's the United States District Court. Not this part of the United States, the Southern District, nysd.uscourts.gov. Watson and Guerrero, shout out to them. Keller and Postman, shout out to them. And Buckfire Law. These are just a few. These are not even all of them, but these are just a few. What you said to me, stupid? Get out of my chat. Thanks. So anyway, like how I was saying, there's absolutely links between autism and Tylenol, so much so that these lawyers are working on a contingency, which means that they are taking these cases and they are doing all of the legwork free of charge to make sure that they get a consideration on the back end. Lawyers do not do this unless they know they're going to win. That's number one. And I wanted to put this out here because people want to sit there and blame President Trump for everything, and they want to minimize because, of course, moms don't want to take accountability. If you took Tylenol and you're the reason why your child has autism, that might make you look at yourself a funny type of way. The reality is this is on the medical professionals and the pharmaceutical industry for not making it readily known that Tylenol may be problematic. Because again, I want you guys to make sure you join me because I'm going to actually be covering this Netflix special. This Netflix documentary, Cold Case, the Tylenol deletions, was very insidious. It was very insidious because people were putting cyanide in bottles of Tylenol. This is why you now have like the tamper-resistant labels and different things like this. And the Tylenol was like the cyanide was in the same plant that Tylenol was being manufactured. So Tylenol in and of itself is dangerous for a multitude of reasons. And this happened in 1982 in Chicago, and then it wound up being a nationwide issue. But again, if you're only watching social media and you're only allowing yourself to be gaslit, yes, thank you, I am. And you're only allowing yourself to be gaslit, then you may not know. But wait for the next episode of Netflix and Spill, because I'm telling y'all right now, babies, we got a lot to cover. Your girl been watching a lot of documentaries, looking into a lot of stuff. I'm really trying to avoid one documentary because one of my good content creator friends said they were going to cover it, but I'm going to give them like another couple days, and if they don't cover it, then I'm going to come and cover it. Right, exactly, Keeper. Look at this. So you want to say that RFK is an idiot, and so is Trump and them. So do you want to tell me why this is litigation that is already in place? And please bear in mind, this is from October 5th of 2022. 367 personal injury healthcare pharmaceutical personal injury product liability. What happened? Summary. The plaintiffs in this multi-district litigation assert that children developed autism spectrum disorder and or attention deficit hyperactivity disorder as the result of in utero exposure to acetaminophen. You're right. This is about your politics. Right? Because that's all y'all really care about right now in America is your personal politics, not how this is actually having an impact on children of all nationalities, of all colors, through all political parties, and how this is a major health concern, right? That's not what is most important to you. It's, oh, well, let's point fingers at Trump. Oh, well, let's talk about Charlie Kirk. Oh, well, let's talk about the Democrats. Oh, well, let's talk about the Republicans. Oh, well, let's talk about this. Oh, well, let's talk about that. Oh, well, let's talk about everything else except for the people that are being impacted. You're right. I'm sorry. You're much smarter than I am. Clearly. Now, in regards to what people were saying about the big, beautiful bill and all that Trump is doing against children with disabilities, because you know that will become a talking point. I want you guys to understand this. In every single state in these contiguous United States of America, there is a special insurance for individuals with disabilities, which is not affected by Medicare or Medicaid. In Texas, it is intellectuals with disabilities. In Arkansas, it is TEFRA. You have to look up your state's coverall insurance, and it doesn't limit children to just being on Medicare and Medicaid. It actually pays the insurance premiums of the child, no matter what insurance that child has. So that's another talking point that's been getting underneath my skin. It's been really chapping my ass because a lot of people on social media don't know what they're talking about because they're not part of the impacted community that they're speaking up so loudly and incorrectly for. Not to mention that that's not actually what the bill says about the insurance, but you know, that's a topic for another time. Okay. Oh, Almond, you try. Oh, Almond, you try. Almond House is a mess, y'all. But let's listen to. Right, exactly. Nowadays, new moms are told infants don't need water, that they get enough water in their formulas. Like, there's a lot of miseducation happening to children in all nationalities. Period. So before you come in my chat, know what you're talking about, because the ushers will escort you to the back of the door expeditiously. Now, let's look at what the OBGYNs have to say about autism being linked to Tylenol, shall we?
Controversy at the White House. President Trump says pregnant women should avoid Tylenol entirely, claiming the common pain reliever may be linked to autism.
Yeah, he also repeated concerns about vaccines. Both claims experts say are unfounded and not supported by science. Now, cases of autism we know have risen sharply in recent years, but doctors say that's largely due to broader definitions and better awareness. So what should families believe tonight? Let's bring in Dr. Tamika Augusti. She is an OBGYN and a fellow of the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists. Dr. Augusti, thank you for being here with us.
Thank you for having me.
So I guess we should just sort of get your initial reaction to this and how this announcement compares to guidance from organizations like American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists or even maternal fetal medicine specialists.
Absolutely. So without question, the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists supports the use of acetaminophen during pregnancy, and it's a safe pain reliever and fever reducer. We continue to support the use of acetaminophen, as we always has, when it's taken as needed, in moderation, and after consultation with a doctor.
And can you talk about the difficulty of still?
So now let's talk about it. Because if you listen to people like this woman, right, while you're pregnant, you can do whatever you want to do. While I was pregnant, I was told I could have a glass of wine. One glass of wine was not problematic. I was told how people in Jamaica drink cannabis tea and smoke weed and their children are brighter. I was told it's okay to eat sushi every now and again. I was told it's okay to eat cold cuts. Now, did I do any of that? Absolutely not. As pregnant women, you are very much regulated on what you can ingest into your body. As a matter of fact, you can't take Tylenol and breastfeed because it will have a synergistic effect on your newborn. So if I can't feed my child Tylenol through my breast, if I have to be mindful of what I'm eating while I'm carrying a child in utero, and if I decide to breastfeed thereafter, still have to be very mindful of the amount of caffeine that I take. Caffeine is a problem. Coffee, Starbucks coffee, McDonald's coffee, Dunkin' Donuts in America runs on Dunkin' is a problem. But acetaminophen, a non-steroid analgesic inhibitor, is not a problem. Could it be that they want to make sure they don't go back to the fall from grace that they had during the Tylenol murders? Or could it be that maybe you're being pushed the narrative so that you participate in self-harm unwittingly? In my personal opinion, no mother should be taking anything unless they are in the hospital underneath a physician's care, and even then very liberally. Not because I want people to be in pain and not because I want people to suffer, but because there's so many complications that happen during gestation, especially depending on where you are in your trimesters. That first trimester, a lot of women do a lot of damage because they're not planning kids. They're having kids by mistake. Let's be honest. So a lot of women during their first trimester, they're drinking wine, they're smoking, they're eating stuff they don't have any business doing. They're going out. They may be participating in rough intimacy. You never know, living a dangerous lifestyle. That second, I'm going to say from probably about week eight until the top of the third. That's when your child's, all their organs are developing. Their brain, their heart, their lungs, their kidneys. If Tylenol is enough to minimize a painful sensation that you're having in your whole grown body, amplify those effects on your infant in your belly. I'm just saying real quick. If you take too much Tylenol as an adult, you'll die, right? So what is too much Tylenol for an infant in utero? I know they don't. Let's continue listening to this lady.
Studying interactions with, pregnant patients and what a normal trial would look like here, because we hear what you're saying, but we also hear what the federal government is saying right now about the use of acetaminophen.
Sure. So the important thing to understand is that the communication about acetaminophen not being safe in pregnancy is not backed in science. Okay. In fact, there has been very recent, robust data that reinforces the use of acetaminophen in pregnancy is safe and not associated with an increase in autism. So we need to fall back on the science and the high quality studies that have been done on this topic.
Dr. Augusti, are you concerned that this announcement could create confusion or fear for patients? Or there are probably quite a few people reaching out to their doctors as a result of what they heard today from the White House.
Yeah, and so, there probably will always be confusion. This may add to it, but the bottom line is for any patient out there is to go to your healthcare provider and have a conversation with them about why acetaminophen is safe in pregnancy. I know all the fellows of the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, we are well versed in this. This is, we know that this is fact and science. We can speak to it. We can, discuss the evidence that shows there is, no association with it, and we can talk to the patient about it. And I think that is the starting point and what every pregnant patient needs to take away from this.
Yeah, so Dr. Augusti, are there any medications that are typically recommended to avoid?
There, for pain relief in pregnancy, there's only a small number of alternatives, and they too come with.
No, this is women wanting to be selfish. And this OBGYN, I'm sorry, I have to say she's a liar. And you don't have to take my word for it. Hey, Linda. Hey, Tootie. Hey, Keeper. Right, exactly. What you total intake, also what you think and feel, an infant is going to have residual side effects. Exactly. But I want us to look at the dosing recommendations for children with acetaminophen for fever and pain in a child. 0 to 3 months old. They are supposed to have 1.25 milliliters at best. And that's only if they weigh 6 to 11 pounds. I promise you, when you are pregnant, your child does not weigh 6 to 11 pounds until maybe that last month. So if a newborn infant is only supposed to take 1.25 milliliters under a physician's directive, how many milliliters of acetaminophen are your children taking? Because the normal dosage for an adult is, I believe, 4,000 milligrams. 4,000 milligrams per day is acceptable for adults. So now let's go deeper. Do not use acetaminophen under 12 weeks of age unless your pediatrician tells you to. This is because fever in the first 12 weeks of life should be recorded in a healthcare setting. If there's a fever, your baby will need to be checked to see what tests are needed. Fever may happen after a vaccine in a child 8 weeks of age and older. If this happened, please talk to your child's doctor. Not to mention the allergies that come along with new people. See, with these new little people, you never know what they're going to be allergic to, how they're going to be affected, which is why we don't give children food until they're like 6 months old, which is why when we introduce cereal into their breast milk or their formula, we start with something bland like rice before we move to oatmeal. And oatmeal is considered pretty benign, pretty non-invasive, pretty non-toxic, and pretty non-lethal, which is why you have to introduce to your child things one at a time, just in case they have an allergic reaction. Yet and still, these OBGYNs want to sit there and beat you in the head. These sciences that are backed by what? Big Pharma. We're not going to sit there and act like Big Pharma is not lining people's pockets like this OBGYN. Look at her. I want you to really pay attention to her. She's not even looking at the camera when she's talking. She's looking down into the left, and I don't care what you're on. I don't care if you're on a Zoom. I don't care if you're on a Skype. I don't care if you're on, you know what I'm saying, the hotline bling, blah, 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 whatever. If you're making a statement of fact, body language matters. And her body language is reading like she's a liar. I will bet you good money that Big Pharma has lined her pockets for a long time. This takes it back to the pandemic, when people in the pandemic were telling you what you needed to do, what was necessary for you to live. And then all of a sudden, in the after effects, they told you that a lot of what they told you wasn't necessarily the truth, and in fact caused more harm than good. I'm going to tell you this, ladies, and to my men too. Put your foot down. If you're pregnant and you have a headache and you have a migraine, turn the lights off and go to bed. This is why marriage is important in America. So that when you're a pregnant woman, you can rest in your femininity. You can use your fainting couches for something other than a cute decorative item within your home. There is a lot of holistic and homeopathic ways to resolve a headache. One of which being put a cold compress at the back of your neck and a warm compress on your forehead. That is enough to have you get rid of a headache. That's enough, like, so that you don't have to be in pain. What? Right, it's under lock and key in some Walgreens. It's under lock and key a lot of places. And it doesn't have anything to do with the thieves, as one of these ignorant ass people in my chat have to say. It has to do with the fact that once they had these Tylenol murders, they started locking up Tylenol, because Tylenol is one of the most used item in American economy. Like, come on now, please don't come in my chat playing, because I don't want to have to embarrass y'all now. Y'all think y'all know what you know, and it's all right. It's all right. It's all right to be firm in your beliefs, and it is also okay to get an education and learn something new. Now, at the end of the day, with all of these class action lawsuits that have been building since 2022, how do you think that this got on President Trump's desks in the first place? It got on his desk because, it's something that they have been investigating and looking at in government for a long time. You think they have class action lawsuits all over this country based on one thing, and the DOJ and WHO and the CDC and the NIH don't know what's going on? Now, one thing that President Trump did say today that I was a little bit on the fence for was the vaccination component. Now, we all know there was a doctor in 1998. He did a study. His study was very limited, if I'm being honest. He studied like 12 families and, you know, the ones that got autism or whatever after a vaccine. And then he also came back and said that it wasn't what he said it was. I don't know if that was under pressure. I don't know if that's true or if that's not. I know that if there are vaccine related injuries to autism, they are very much buried. But I do know if you feel like a vaccine has caused an injury to your child and caused your child to get autism, you are free to file a claim through the vaccine injury line, and you might get compensation and you might not. But again, that's the luck of the draw. They also have lawsuits for vaccine injury claims as well. And for those of you that, you know, don't believe, I hate to be the one to bust your bubbles. You know, I don't know too much. I'm just a black chick, right? Health Resources and Service Administration, which is HRSA.gov. National Vaccine Injury Compensation Program. Let's look at the data. Hey, Andrew Taylor. You can actually go and pull all the data. You can look and see the petitions filed against what for how. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of vaccines that cause injury. And a lot of these cases have been adjudicated. It does take 2 to 3 years to adjudicate a petition after it's been filed. But I want y'all to pay attention to the amount of money that has been claimed in vaccine injuries. So, of course, they don't want to tell you that autism causes it. Look at this. Oh, 1,371,076. Very next year, up 54 million. 98 million, 98 million, 125, 105. Like, ain't no small numbers getting paid out. We getting into the billions. We getting close to the billions now in vaccine injury payments. Like, what we talking about? The total amount that had. Hello, handsome. Hi. Thank you, and beat it. Sorry about that, y'all. Hey, Dr. Steele. So the total amount that the human resources, we're gonna take it to the top just so we understand what we are talking about here. The government, Health Resources and Service Administration, the total that they have paid out over several fiscal years is, my God, today from 1989 to 2025 is 5,458,579,949.36. And that was only 12,225 cases adjudicated successfully and awarded. What are we talking about? And you would think the vast amount of it would be for the attorney fees, but it's not. It's not. That's the total outlier cost. But in petitioner's award amount, it's only been $4,867,749,112.46. I'm just saying real quick. So something's got to be happening with vaccines in order for there to be vaccine compensation into the trillions. Something's got to be happening with Tylenol for there to be so many lawsuits that are over here suing Tylenol and other manufacturers for failure to adequately warn of the hazards of prenatal exposure to acetaminophen. So, it's one or two things you could do. And we really do got to look at the increase from 89 to 2025 of the amount of cases and diagnoses of autism spectrum disorder comparative to what it was before. Because after the cold case deletions of the Tylenol deletions in Chicago, Tylenol went above and beyond to run around and really impress upon the public that Tylenol is a safe product. They never really did clear up all that heat behind what happened in Chicago, though. They really did. They kind of just swept it. You know what I mean? They were just like dusted it underneath the rug. But I put things out here for you to do your own research. You have to do your own research. If you're pregnant, I hope this finds you in good health. And I would say to you, stay away from anything besides natural foods and juices and water. Not even too much juice. I don't want you to get gestational diabetes. Really focus on water and clean eating while you're pregnant. Even if you're, you know what I'm saying, big back attack. For them 9-10 months that you're pregnant, let's try to eat a little clean. See, I'm gonna tell you the real truth. I don't care about people's opinions. I know that people's opinions is usually steeped in their ignorance. I've been told you, we over here to open your mind. So if you want to open your mind, you want to deal with somebody that's real, you know what to do. Subscribe. If you don't like what I'm talking about, I see you when I see you. Disappear. I don't really care. Either way it goes. Please make sure you check out, spring water. Hey, Andrew Taylor. Actually, more so alkaline water. Because you want to make sure your body remains in a state of homeostasis. And what a lot of people don't realize is that water in and of itself is pretty acidic. The more expensive brands are more on the alkaline side, and your blood's natural pH is like a 7.345. So you lean more on the alkaline side, and alkaline water is actually very beneficial to all of humanity. It offsets the amount of acidic products you put in your body. But we're not trying to have that type of science conversation today. If you guys want me to talk about that, put it in the comments and we could get a little deeper into nutrition. Yeah, I know I have a degree in science. But anyway, God bless and keep each and every one of you. This has been another episode of Mind Chaos Brew. Hype this video up. YouTube has a new function. So when I end it and you're catching it in the replay, you'll see a little hype button underneath the video. In between the comments, press that button, hit the like button, share it out, whatever. I love y'all and we out of here. Peace. Yes, tune in to the alkalinity. Maybe you'll be happy and have good skin and be, balanced and find your zen. Even if you're a Christian, you can find your zen, because y'all Christians be doing yoga and y'all know yoga is not a Jesus, but that's a whole nother topic too. Child, let me go before I get in trouble. Bye, y'all.
Step in the room, it'll mood, it'll wave. Gloss on my lips and my hustle well paid. Silk in my step, got a vibe you can't fake. Sugar and smoke with a hint of heartbreak. Eyes low, truth high. Talk sweet, but I don't lie. Cool breeze, but I burn slow. You ain't team fire in a glow like so. I'm velvet and vices, jazzed up in slices. Trap queen dreams with a saxophone soul. I don't chase, I stroll. Heavy crown like toast. Tune in, sit back, let the story unfold. Lights in the scene set just right. Gold on my skin, catch the glow in the night. Whisper my name, feel the heat when I speak. Soft to the touch, but my mind stay elite. Eyes low, truth high. Talk sweet, but I don't lie. Cool breeze, but I burn slow. You ain't see fire in a glow like so. I'm velvet and vices, jazz up in slices. Trap queen dreams with a saxophone soul. I don't chase, I stroll. Heavy sound like toast. Tune in, sit back, let the story unfold.